Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 40 of the Railcraft server Let's Play. And I now know why the robot kept running out of power after shutting down. And the reason is that the screen was not cleared, and I'd completely forgotten that having visible characters on a screen actually uses power. And when you use the computer shutdown command, the screen is not automatically cleared. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to append the program, which I have here in IntelliJ, and we're going to add a require for term, and down in the shutdown thing here, we're going to remove the print because it's kind of needed since it's going to clear the screen anyway. And we're going to put term clear. I think that's all that is needed. And instead of using pastebin, because I've started using IntelliJ now to edit my scripts. I'm going to upload, and I'm going to upload the file to my server. And then we're going to head up to the computer up here. Turn this on. Now, on the server, I've made a directory, a folder, and we're going to, this is accessible from the web, of course, and we are going to download the file using this program. I don't actually know how to pronounce that. Saying wget looks or sounds strange, and I don't know if it's short for something. Webget maybe, I don't know. So we'll look at the help for this program. You can see that we have a syntax pretty similar to the pastebin program, but instead of a pastebin code, we specify the URL that the file is available on. And so I'm going to specify my domain, and then I made a folder called OC files, and then the file itself is named plutonium.lua, of course, and then we want it to overwrite plutonium.lua, and I'm going to add the force option so that it doesn't, or so that it overwrites the existing file. Then it's going to download the file, and now we'll have the upload or updated plutonium.lua. It's going to, since I don't have to go paste stuff into pastebin anymore, it's going to be a little more smooth. So I might also make a repository. Actually, I have a repository already for Open Computers programs. I should probably pull that into IntelliJ, to the project I made, because you can also get the raw files from a Git repository, which I have on a GitLab server. But what we want to do next, of course, is copy plutonium.lua to mount / then the disk plutonium, and then overwrite that. Then we are going to grab the disk once again. Put it into the robot here. It had, of course, ran out of power again. But I charged it a little bit, so we could do this. We should be able to turn it back on, and it should finish refueling the reactors. The reactor. I don't have more than one yet. Plutonium, and then overwrite local one. And then we're going to run that with the override for the power level. We can take the floppy disk again, put it back up in the computer upstairs in case we need to make other changes. And now we have power again. Still don't know why the this area is loaded when I'm not here. It's a bit odd. But we are now going to continue working on the new base. So I've actually investigated automating a smelting setup, or, well, casting setup. The smelting part is easy. So I need to decide if I want to... I guess I should pretty much disassemble this and move it and not make another setup, because we're not going to be here afterwards anyway. The tricky bit is the power system. I suppose we're going to have to make more rooms. We need a power plant, which is certainly going to be a reactor. And we're going to build a proper fluid-cooled reactor to get more power out of our fuel. And we're going to want that to be below ground, probably. Now, I've also been working on a computer-controlled elevator using the Railcraft elevator tracks. But I ran into some issues with that, with the network not working correctly, and the computers wouldn't communicate with each other like they were supposed to. But what I think we're going to, or what I'm going to do, I'm going to start digging here, and I'm going to kind of make a central shaft. I suppose this should be 3 blocks wide, because the actual elevator only takes up 1 block. So we want it centered. So I think, I don't know where we are exactly. I guess I should, let's go up, and approximately in the center of this, because this is going to go up into the above ground building as well, of course, and it's going to be the access point into the underground parts. So we're going to have a central shaft here with the elevator in the middle, and so I'm going to have the elevator tracks here, and then we're going to have a bit of space clearing. What I'll probably do is have small bridges of with a piston here, a sticky piston, which will extend a block here when the elevator has arrived at a floor. and then it will be tracked when the elevator is moving to a different floor. And normally that would look pretty ugly, but like we established in the previous episode, we're going to have the entire floor covered in either carpets or bits to make it flush with the lights that will be in the floor. And those will also cover the piston, so that will look nicer. Now, I probably could have used a measuring tape. Also, that is really off. But I guess I should go get the measuring tape. Stupid lag spikes. Still plagued by those. Yes. Don't know if do you take fall damage? Yeah, you do. So the nanosuit boots do not completely negate fall damage. Measuring tape is what I was after. Grab one of those. Okay. Oh. Skeleton shooting. Ow. Damn it. That slowed me down. This was a raise. It probably have gone poorly. Okay, let's mark this. Oh wait, need to hold down the button. That will do, I guess. Dang it, that's not what I wanted. Clear that. Okay, so now I can see that through the ground. And it wasn't too off, but it's too off for what I want. So we're going to have to fill this back in. Fortunately, you get crag rock. Doesn't have a smooth form. Okay, so I think there. This is what I want. Yep, perfect. And then we're of course going to have a walkway around the actual shaft so that we can, so you can move around it and such. But we're going to focus on the shaft first. I'm going to make the required elevator tracks off camera, and I'm going to have to work out the programming off camera as well. Solve the issues I had. I might switch to wireless. I was trying to use a wired network, but for some reason the computers were not sending messages correctly. But if I use wireless, it might work. Which is going to change the program ever so slightly, but it should be fine. But yes, so this is a basic structure. Probably want this clear as well so that we can, because don't like 2-block high corridors. They are weird. So this is going to continue down and go, like I said, below ground where the reactor will be situated. And then we're going to have high voltage taking power up into here, and then it's going to split off with transformers to power the various parts of the base. Don't know if we want a... Probably want a fence or some kind of barrier around the shaft so you don't fall down. Except where the... Actually, maybe I can do something interesting. I'll have to investigate that as well, but I just had an idea, which I won't spoil. But we can... we'll definitely do that if it's possible, because it's a lot more interesting. And of course it involves more computers. The basic idea for the elevator is that there's going to be a... basically the elevator is going to consist of the elevator tracks in the center, and each floor is going to have a computer terminal, which will act as a client to a server. And the server keeps track of where the elevator is and where it's going, and it will tell the clients what to do. All the clients need to do is have a list of all the other floors, so you can select a floor, or if the elevator is not here, it's going to have a big call button. There's going to be a touch screen, of course, so a tier 2 screen, and then it's going to have a redstone device, either a block or a card, so that it can power the track to call the elevator. And I will explain all of that in more detail once it is complete. But what I'm thinking is that I'm going to have a glass case around the shaft, where on each floor, so you can't just walk into it. And then there's going to be an opening on this side with the piston, like I said, or my other solution, if that is viable, which it should be. And there's probably also going to be a door, and we'll get back to that as well. Actually, I'm not sure which will work best. Like I said, we'll have to investigate. It's nice that we have light in here now. It's pretty simple. Actually, I don't know if we need a server. Maybe the clients can just communicate between each other, and yeah. I'm going to have to hammer out those details. Could probably have another room going off in this direction, or a corridor. This is still going to be the ore smelting room, so we're going to need power coming up here. Power is going to come up through the elevator shaft because the terminals are going to need power. And then it can split off to the rooms. Now the ore smelting is going to be pretty much the same. We're going to have the macerator, ore washing plant, and the thermal centrifuge going to process the incoming ores, and then they're all going to go into the same crucible to be smelted into molten ores. But then the system is going to change a little bit. Instead of having a manual, if we go have a look at the current system, which is hacked together, and the smelting room is really cramped. If it wasn't, I probably would have improved this a long time ago. But if we have a look here, we currently have our crucible, and oh, did you fill up? Okay. We have the spouts, which pour the metals out into various tanks. What I'm going to do instead is have advanced rocketry pipes, fluid pipes, pull the fluids out and sort them into a set of tanks. Now, I haven't decided what kind of tanks I want to use yet, but I'm going to decide on that eventually. And we're then going to store the fluids in these tanks until it is needed. And in most cases, we are not going to cast the fluid until we actually need a specific item. So, and that is going to be controlled by a computer as well, which is going to automatically move the required amount of the correct fluid. It's going to put it in the right place. And I've already written the program for this. And it works. Unfortunately, it's going to require having one metal caster for each mold. So it's going to take up a bit more space than I'd initially intended. And the reason for that is that it turns out that this slot is not automatable. It's not accessible by anything. Not even a vanilla hopper can insert anything into the slot. Anything you try to insert goes into this slot, and this slot is the only input that is accessible. And then you can pull from this slot. So I'm going to need multiple metal casters for each mold, which should be fine. And then the computer system is going to direct the fluid into the right mold. It's going to make sure that it is the right amount, and it's going to make sure that it gets the right fluid, obviously. And yeah, that's kind of it, I guess. This is lava. This is lava. I am a bit low on space. I can search into there. I made a few of these. I guess I'm going to have to use them. I was going to try these out for storing the metals in. Where did I lose a cell? Huh. That's weird. What? All right. Now these only store 8 buckets of fluid each, but you can use fluid pulling and pushing upgrades in them to automatically move fluids around to adjacent tanks, so you can have a stack of them like this, and then have the fluid flow either from the top to the bottom, so it kind of drains down or drains up, defying gravity, or whatever else you need, sideways, and such. So I don't know where my cell went. Oh, there it is. Alrighty then. So they will use up a bunch more space. Okay, this is full. Okay, there we go. Ow. Go away. Yeah. 800 buckets. No. 8 buckets. 8,000 millibuckets. And that's it. So, not the best tank, but as I said, they can basically act like a multi-block, sort of. Unlike these, which will store a lot more fluid per block, but will only... I guess you could use polling upgrades in these and have them in between these. So you have one of these and then one of those in between, which pulls fluid, and then into another one, so you can have more efficient storage. These are a bit more expensive, though. Although these are kind of not super expensive, but they feel expensive for what they do. But yeah, I'll probably do something like that. I'll have to... I might do something temporary at first and then upgrade it a bit later when I've crafted things off camera. The crafting system also is going to need a transposer to move precise amounts of fluid. And it's going to need a bunch of redstone IO blocks. And we're going to go over it when we set it up, of course. I'm going to make all the components off camera, and then we'll set it up. I guess I really need to figure out the elevator thing first, because we need to get that set up so we can move it down into the... or so I can make the reactor room accessible. I mean, I have a jetpack, so I don't specifically need the elevator, but it's probably good to have in case I'm down there and run out of power or something. Although, there will probably be power down there. But I don't really have anything else right now. I need to do a bunch of stuff off camera. And I need to finish smelting these ores here. I guess I'll continue putting them into tanks. So, yeah, that will be it for this episode. And I will see you in the next one.